Hey, welcome back to day 26 of our daily devotions. That's right, we've been doing this for 26 days now. If you're just joining with me, hey, check out our playlist. Go to Young Nemo, hit the playlist button, look at daily devotions, and you can pick up at day 1. And then you'll see how far we've actually come along. Oh, leave a comment about that, how funny that is. Before I get started, why don't you make sure you have that subscribe button hit, and then there's a bell button right next to it. Make sure you got that clicked so you get a notification when my next video comes up. Hey, glad to have you with me, but hey, make sure you got that done or else we can't get started. Glad to have you with me. Today we're starting off in Exodus chapter 2, verse 11, and we're going to chapter 3, verse 22. Let's get it. Moses escapes to Midian. Many years later, when Moses has grown up, he went out to visit his own people, the Hebrews, and he saw how hard they were forced to work. During his visit, he saw an Egyptian beating his fellow Hebrews. After looking in all directions to make sure no one else was watching, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid the body in the sand. The next day, when Moses went out to visit his people again, he saw two Hebrew men fighting. "Why are you beating up your own friend?" Moses said to the one who started the fight. The man replied, "Who appointed you to be the prince and the judge? Are you going to kill me as you killed the Egyptian yesterday?" Then Moses was afraid, thinking, "Everyone knows what I did." And sure enough, Pharaoh heard what happened, and he had tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in the land of Midian. When Moses arrived in Midian, he sat down beside a well. Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters, who came as usual to draw water and fill their troughs for their father's flocks. But some other shepherds came and chased them away. So Moses jumped up and rescued the girls from the shepherds. Then he drew water for their flocks. When the girls returned to rule their father, he asked, "Why are you back so soon today?" "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds," they answered, "and then he drew water for us and watered our flocks." "Then where is he?" the father asked. "Why do you leave him there? Invite him to come over and eat with us." Moses accepted the invitation, and he settled there with them. In time, Reuel gave Moses' daughter Zipporah to be his wife. Later she gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, for he explained, "I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." Years passed, the king of Egypt died, but the Israelites continued to groan under their burden of slavery. They cried out for help, and they rose up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered the covenant promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He looked down at the people of Israel and knew it was time to act. Chapter 3, Moses in the burning bush. One day, Moses was tending to a flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led the flock far into the wilderness and came to Sinai, the mountain of God. There an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the middle of a bush. Moses stared in amazement, though the bush was engulfed in flames. It didn't burn up. "This was amazing," Joseph said to himself. "Isn't that bush burning up? I must go see it." When the Lord saw Moses come to take a closer look, God called to him from the middle of the bush, "Moses, Moses." "Here I am," Moses replied. "Do not come any closer," the Lord warned. "Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." When Moses heard this, he covered his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord told him, "I have certainly seen the oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering, so I have came down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt to their own fertile and spacious land. It is a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. Now look, the cry of the people of Israel has reached me, and I have seen how harshly the Egyptians abuse them. Now go, for I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people Israel out of Egypt." But Moses protested to God, Who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt?" God answered, "I will be with you, and this is your sign that I am the one who has sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God at this very mountain." But Moses protested, "If I go to the people of Israel and tell them, 'The God of your ancestors has sent me to you,' they will ask, 'What is his name?' What should I tell them?" God replied to Moses, "I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, 'I am sent me to you.'" God has said to Moses, "Say this to the people of Israel, 'Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my eternal name, my name to remember for all generations." Now go and call together all the elders of Israel. Tell them the Lord, God of your ancestors, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, has appeared to me. He told me, I have been watching closely, and I have seen how the Egyptians are treating you. I have promised to rescue you from your oppression in Egypt. I will lead you to a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites now live. The elders of Egypt will accept your message. Then you and the elders must go to the king of Egypt and tell him, the Lord the God of the Hebrews has met with us. So please take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know the king of Egypt will not let you go unless the mighty hand forces him. So I'll raise my hand and strike the Egyptians, performing all kind of miracles among them. The last he will let you go, and I will cause the Egyptians to look favorably on you. They will give you gifts when you go, so you will not leave empty-handed. Every Israelite woman will ask for articles of silver and gold and fine clothing from her Egyptian neighbors and from the foreign women in their houses. You will dress your sons and daughters with these, stripping the Egyptians of their wealth. Hey, so we'll pick this up with chapter 4 tomorrow. That was pretty sweet. So today we're picking up in Matthew chapter 17. We're reading verses 10 through 27. Then his disciples asked him, why do the teachers of religious law insist that Elijah must return before the Messiah comes? Jesus replied, Elijah is indeed coming, first to get everything ready. But I tell you, Elijah has already come, and he wasn't recognized, and they chose to abuse him. In the same way, they will also make the Son of Man suffer. Then the disciples realized he was talking about John the Baptist. Jesus heals a demon-possessed boy. At the foot of a mountain, a large crowd was waiting for him. A man came and knelt before Jesus and said, Lord, have mercy on my son. He has seizures and suffers terribly. He often falls into the fire or into water. So I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't heal him. Jesus said, you faithless and corrupt people, how long must I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me. Then Jesus rebuked the demon in the boy, and it left him. From that moment, the boy was well. Afterward, the disciples asked Jesus privately, couldn't you cast out the demon? You don't have enough faith, Jesus told them. I tell you the truth, if you had faith even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it would move, nothing would be impossible. Jesus again predicts his death. After they gathered again in Galilee, Jesus told them, the Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of his enemies. He will be killed, but on the 3rd day he will be raised from the dead. And his disciples were filled with grief. Payment of the temple tax. On their arrival to Capernaum, the collectors of the temple tax came to Peter and asked, doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax? Yes, he does, Peter replied. Then he went to the house, but before he had a chance to speak, Jesus asked him, what do you think, Peter? Do kings tax their own people, or the people have conquered? The tax people have conquered, people replied. Well then, Jesus said, the citizens are free. However, we don't offend them, so go down the lake and throw in line. Open the mouth of the first fish you catch, and you'll find a large silver coin. Take it and pay tax for both of us. Wow, so we'll pick up at chapter 18 tomorrow. Let's go ahead and read our psalm for the day. Today we are reading Psalm 22, verses 1 through 18. My God, why have you abandoned me? Why are you so far away when I groan for help? Every day I call to you, my God, but you don't answer. Every night you hear my voice, but I find no relief. Yet you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. Our ancestors trusted you, and you rescued them. They cried out to you, and you were saved. They trusted in you, and you were never disgraced. But I am a worm, not a man. I am scorned and despised by all. Everyone who sees me mocks me. They sneer and shake their heads, saying, is this the one who relies on the Lord? Then the Lord save him. If the Lord loves him so much, let the Lord rescue him. Yet you brought me safely from my mother's womb, and led me to trust you at my mother's breast. I was thrust into your arms at my birth, and you have been my God from the moment I was born. Do not stay so far from me, for trouble is near, and no one else can help me. My enemies surround me like herd of bulls. Fierce bulls of Bashan have hemmed me in. Like lions they open their jaws against me, roaring and tearing into their prey. My life is poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax, melting within me. My strength is dried up, like sun-baked clay. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. You have laid me in the dust and left me for dead. My enemies surround me like a pack of dogs. An evil gang closes in on me. They have pierced my hands and feet. I can count all my bones. My enemies stare at me and gloat. They divide my garments among themselves. They throw dice for my clothing. Holy cow. We'll pick this up tomorrow and see what happens. Let's go ahead and finish up with our Proverbs. Today we're finishing in Proverbs chapter 5, verses 7 through 14. So now, my sons, listen to me. Never stray from what I'm about to say. Stay away from her. Don't go near the door of her house. If you do, you will lose your honor. And you will lose to merciless people all of you have achieved. Strangers will consume your wealth, and someone else will enjoy the fruit of your labor. In the end, you will groan in anguish when disease consumes your body. You will say, "How I hated discipline! If only I had not ignored all the warnings. Oh, why didn't I listen to my teachers? Why didn't I pay attention to my instructors? I have come to the brink of utter ruin, and now I must face public disgrace." Ooh-wee. So I'll pick this up again tomorrow. This has been day 26 of our 365-day journey. And man, let me tell you, seriously, I am so glad to have you guys with me. I couldn't do this without you. I couldn't do this without the help of the Lord giving me the inspiration and the courage to do this in front of the camera with you guys. But I am so grateful and honored for all the good feedback and all the awesome stuff you guys have been saying and all the support I've been getting on at Patreon at www.patreon.com/youngnemo. I'll leave a link in the description for that if you haven't checked that out. But that has been wonderful and a great aid for how much this has helped bring this to the surface. But hey, before you go, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And if you want, hit that bell button so you get a notification when a new video comes up. And hey, let me tell you again, I am so happy to do this, especially having you guys with me. And I'll catch you on day 27.